What's up, guys? We're here in Boise checking out this 2017 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and it is white. It's got a bunch of stuff done to it. We're gonna get into it closely and see what all it's got to offer. Stay tuned. Okay, we're here with Cordell. He's gonna show us around his 4Runner, and he's gonna talk a little bit about himself. And yeah, let's get started. So if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Cordell. This is my 2017 Toyota 4Runner. It's a TRD Pro. I'm an industrial maintenance mechanic here in Boise. A little bit of a DIY kind of person. I've done almost all the work on the 4Runner myself. I've got lots of big plans for it, but we've got a good list started so far.
What kind of suspension you got on here? What all have you done to it? And did you do it yourself?
So originally it came with the Bilstein. It was 1.5 inch lifted. I ran that for about 105,000 miles. I got a ton of life out of it, and it was really great. And initially my plan was to stick with Bilsteins. I wanted to go with the 8112 series, but I was browsing around online, checking out all the different options, and Icon had a 25% off sale. So
nice.
I went with a Stage 5 Icon kit. It came with struts, upper control arms, rear trailing arms, rear shocks. It was essentially a full suspension kit.
Yeah.
So far I've really loved it. I haven't had a chance to test it out a whole lot. With elk season coming up, I'm going to be going out probably tomorrow night. We're going to go do some camping and get a chance to really test it off-road, but so far I love it.
Does it have reservoirs and sway bar disconnects?
So it does not have sway bar disconnects. I haven't been able to find an option for this particular 4Runner yet. I've considered building my own. Trying to find a good way to make that happen, but it does have the external reservoirs on the front and the rear. So the coilovers have them, and the shocks in the rear have them as well.
Fully damper?
No adjustments on these ones.
Okay.
These ones are set straight out of the box and kind of run with it, but they are a bit firm compared to the original suspension. I had 550-pound springs with the original Bilstein kit, and I believe these are 650 pounds.
Okay.
I do have them set to the maximum ride height, which they claim is 3.5. I think they're probably a bit short on that, but
gotcha.
It did provide a good amount of lift. It gave me just enough to try and clear the 35s.
Yeah, it's not raked at all. It looks like it's almost like perfectly.
It's pretty close to level, and if I had the spare under it, how it was designed to be, I think that it would be a bit closer to it. So
right.
Overall, I like the look. I like the quality. Handling has been really great with the stiffer spring in the front. It's a smoother driving experience, especially with the tent, the winch, the rock sliders. It started to get a little bit cumbersome. Steering, braking, it had a pretty hard nosedive with the softer springs, but this has kind of corrected all that. So it is a pretty firm on-road experience, but overall I think it's a really good kit.
What wheel setup is this? The tires look like they're brand new still. So have you actually used them yet, and like to see what their full potential is? Do you plan on? It sounds like you plan on using them, if you haven't. And then how hard was it to get them balanced? And what's the brake setup that you got going on?
So I guess let's start with the brakes. I went with, I think it was Evolution by Power Stop. I did brakes and rotors. After about 100,000 miles, I was getting some wobble, about 45 miles an hour. It was time for rotors. I figured we'd do brake pads as well. I ended up doing brakes all the way around, brakes, rotors all the way around. That corrected all those issues, and it stops really nicely now. And hopefully that'll give me a little bit more when I'm off-road, when I'm going fast down the dirt roads. Hopefully I'll have less brake fade from that. That was kind of the reason that I went that route with them.
Gotcha.
The wheels, the only reason I replaced the TRD Pro wheels, because I really did like them. I liked the way that they looked.
Right.
They were a little bit of trouble to clean out. They had squares kind of all over in them, and they were black. So they were difficult to deal with and keep looking nice. You know, they get a really nasty kind of dirty hue to them, but they were also seven inches wide. So I was having trouble.
These are a lot wider.
Yep. When I went to the 35s, they were 35, 12 and a half by 17.
Okay.
I needed a wider wheel to safely fit the 12 and a half wide inch tires. So I ended up going with the Falcon Atlas T9, I believe is the name of it. They are 9 wide and they're a 17 inch wheel.
Nice.
It's a similar, it's a black wheel, similar kind of style. I like the spoke style of them.
No, it looks great.
I wanted to keep it kind of the same color scheme. The black and white was kind of the plan to go with always. Any of the upgrades, I've kind of tried to keep them either black or white. And then the tires are Nitto Trail Grappler. They're the mud terrains.
Yeah, very aggressive.
They are. They're super aggressive. So I was running I've gone several different tires at this point.
Okay, so this is not your first set.
No, this is, I think, 4 or 5.
Oh, wow, okay.
Just because I have this thing where I can't stop upgrading tires. They always look too small. These are starting to feel small.
Okay, so it's more about like you've upgraded the size every time and went different style of, like, have you went all terrains and then mud terrain and then back to all terrain, or like you just kind of test and tune it at that point?
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to decide where I wanted to be with it. Originally it had 265/70, no, excuse me, 265/70. Okay. So I had about a 31 inch tire on it. And I picked them out from the dealership. I put BFG all-terrains on them. And they were great tires all the way around. A little less than desirable in the mud and the snow.
Right.
But they really weren't a terrible tire. I wanted to go bigger. My plan was to stick at 33s and not really go beyond that.
But we ended up at 35.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So I switched to a Falcon Wild Peak mud terrain in a 285/70. And I really liked those. Those were great tires. I ran them until I wore them out. They were awesome. I had no complaints. They got a little bit loud towards the end of their life, but you're going to get that out of mud terrains, you know.
Yeah.
And then after the Falcons, I went with a 285/75 because I wanted to go a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I found a used set, so I decided to go back to all terrains. It works out to
33 and a half,
34? About almost 34. I think it's 33.8.
Gotcha.
And those were a really good fit all the way around. They weren't quite as wide as I wanted, but I had less rubbing, you know. It was a really good option if you're looking to go bigger tires and kind of the max of what you can get without cutting a bunch of stuff and dealing with a bunch of problems. That's really, I think, the limit there. After I went to 35s, I've ran into a lot of issues, but
yeah. You hear that, guys? The big 35s and 37s are not always worth it, but, you know, whatever you want to do.
They're super cool, but it is a lot of work if you want to do it right. And another part of it is the drivability. I mean, they're big mud tires. They're loud.
Gas mileage, loud.
Yep.
You got to lug them around everywhere.
Realistically, it needs to be re-geared.
Yeah.
It likes to hunt for gears on the highway. It's kind of always had that problem with the 5-speed transmission. After adding a bunch of extra weight and bigger tires to it, it's inevitable.
Right.
Otherwise, you're planning on driving in 4th gear. So if I do re-gear it, I think I'll re-gear it to 410s.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the ballpark there. Where it's at is fine. I mean, it's day-to-day driving. Even off-road, it's not terrible, but it's the freeway, and if you're really rock crawling with it is when you can notice it, and I think it would make a big difference.
Okay, so up front here we have a really nice hidden feature. You know, if you know what you're looking at, there's a winch hidden in here. So why don't you just tell us all the fabrication you had to do to make this work and make it look so clean, actually, and what kind of winch do you have in there?
So I decided to go with the hidden winch style. My wife really wanted to maintain most of the stock kind of feel of it. We really love the appeal of the 5th gen 4runners, so I figured I'd meet her in the middle. I wanted to have a winch and she wanted to keep her car nice, so we decided the hidden winch. It basically works the same as a low profile front winch or bumper, excuse me, that would fit here to there, minus the bumper portion here. So it bolts into the frame on either side here, and then the recovery points have a strap that bolts to the side of the frame, and the plate is supported down across the bottom. And then I've got a fair lead mount built out to the front, and this just bolts across. I just trimmed one small section out of the front of that to have an opening for the winch cable to come through. But
and just bolt it straight in.
Yep.
So the plates that you had to do to all the mounting was that custom, or is that a kit you can buy?
That's custom.
That's full custom. Okay.
That was all just out of my garage, putting things down there until it all fit and worked together. I did a lot of research online. I found a company that sells a kit, or not a kit, but a mount for it specifically, and they had a CAD file. I didn't have access to the file itself, but I had access to the picture itself. So
enough.
I kind of borrowed some of that design and just made it all work, kind of fitting things. I tacked everything one piece at a time, just making sure that everything was where it needed to be. But with that kind of engineering, if you will, you run into some issues. I ended up swapping over winches. I had a Trail FX, I believe it was a 10,000.
Okay.
And I had caught a sharp piece on the fair lead mount that I had missed. So ended up breaking my winch cable. And when I did so, it pulled the set screw out, and the set screw sheared in the drum.
Come on.
Had a whole bunch of issues out on the trail. So I didn't get around to fixing that one yet. So I swapped in a Badlands.
Okay.
Kind of their base model 12,000 pound winch.
Classic.
But it works.
It does work, yeah.
It's doing its job. Yeah. It's never failed me yet. But when I did so, it was a bit longer this direction.
Okay.
And I ran into my high pressure AC line, and they just touched together, and it took about a year for them to disagree with each other. But finally wore a hole in the AC line. And
really?
All of a sudden we didn't have AC, and we weren't really sure why. But found a puddle of oil in here, and kind of figured out what it was from there. And after an outrageous quote from Toyota to fix it, I ended up doing that myself as well. So
wow.
I've made a point to kind of tackle all of this stuff on my own.
Okay.
I wanted to keep the budget as low as possible, and I really enjoy fabricating as it is. So I take it as a bit of a challenge, and saves us a bunch of money, and it's a good time. But the more I learn about it, the fewer the mistakes are, and
for sure.
You just kind of learn as you go. DIY projects are very much like that, TRD Pro came with the skid plates.
How far back?
Pretty much all the way through.
Really?
Most everything underneath is covered. There's a big one over the gas tank. There's one over the differential. Quite a bit of it's covered. It's not a full sheet all the way across, but yeah, the transfer case, differential, that kind of stuff. All of your real important stuff is pretty well covered. Bought it in, I want to say it was the winter of 2021, and it was completely bone stock. Had about 40,000 miles. An older couple owned it.
Not even broken yet.
Nope. it was right at its peak, getting ready to. Yeah. So we bought it from the dealership. We traded her car in. She wanted something a little bit bigger, something a little bit more fun. She had a little Ford Focus, and we both always just kind of like the look of the 4runners, and Toyota's a quality vehicle. So this is where we met with it, and the option worked out really well for us. I know there's some debate about the different models, but it was out of the box kind of what we needed. We didn't plan on lifting it. We didn't plan on changing wheels and tires. We planned on just having it work the way that it was, and for the first year and a half, we didn't really touch it. We added a Prinsu roof rack, we added the light bar and the tent, all within that first year, but everything else stayed the same. The longer we had it, the more comfortable we got with taking it off-road and really kind of using it for what we bought it for. The more we decided let's add some things to this. You know, let's start making some upgrades. Let's make it look a little cooler. Let's make it go a little further.
How many miles are on it now?
It is at 106,000. So
you put some miles on it.
We've definitely gotten our use out of it.
All right, so we covered the front end, we covered the wheels, the suspension. You got rock sliders here, which you said you custom had to put these together, but it's a company you can buy them from, and then you just put them together.
No,
Or are these fully
I built
custom?
them from scratch.
Oh, well, that's enough to talk about then. So, did you have to like bend the piping here, or like did you find piping and then you just like the curve was like you just figured that out and then you welded it, or like what's the deal here?
So, I'm sure there's plenty of welders that aren't going to love the way that I did this, but it works for me. I ended up, I got a bunch of straight pipe, and I did V-cuts. I cut notches anywhere that I needed to make a bend.
Okay.
I cut several notches until I got the degree that I wanted out of it, and then I welded all those notches back together, and then just kind of took everything down flat. I wanted a slight upward angle so that it wasn't deleting all of my clearance there. So they point slightly upwards, and then they have a kick out here. It comes back out this way.
Okay.
If I do get up against something hard, the idea is it'll push the vehicle out of the way so I don't destroy the rear wheel.
A pretty nice roof setup you have. Is that a Prinsu rack? What kind of light do you have? And the tent, what's up with that?
So it is a full Prinsu rack. We ended up buying it when we bought the 4runner. We bought it at the dealership the same day. We bought the tent off the display. My wife saw it on the floor and she said she needed it. So we bought all of that kind of in one solid go. It's an iCamper tent.
Okay.
I don't remember which model. It's I think their second series that they did. So it's the canvas and the fold out style. But the one thing I really love about that, the canvas gets a little more weathered than the hard shell with the newer style, but this tent opens up twice as much as the clamshell style tent.
Plan on switching this up at all in the future?
You know, I think I'm gonna keep the tent around. I plan on probably this winter I'm gonna build an off-road trailer.
Okay.
So I'm going to build something to pull behind this, and we can probably have that discussion later as well.
Custom trailers that's all the rave. People love, custom trailers.
I'd already started. I built a three-way articulating hitch for it already. So my tools and recovery equipment and everything in the back. I've got a couple really big coolers that I use for hunting. I need my space back. So the trailer will solve all of those problems, but this tent, I'm going to build a custom rack on the trailer itself. It's all going to be my design on that.
Move back there.
And it's just going to go to the back, but we do plan on keeping the tent. So I think I want to wrap the whole thing.
Oh, so really? Okay.
Not necessarily even to change the color.
Yeah.
I will change the color, but it's not so much for that, but more so to kind of preserve the paint. With all the hunting and stuff that we do, you're in tight quarters with trees, and it's just really rough on the paint, and I think it's going to be another thing that I end up doing myself just for the sake of saving some money.
I'm gonna wrap it yourself?
Yeah.
That'll be a fun experience.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge for sure. It's a lot of work. I've watched some videos on it, and it's definitely a lot of work, but yeah. I'm going to start by wrapping the hood with the white on the light bar on at night with the white. It's a lot. It reflects a lot. It's a pain. It kind of takes away from it a bit. So right. I'm gonna try black on the hood, and I'm gonna see how the wrapping goes. And if it works out and I can do it well enough, I'm gonna wrap the whole vehicle.
I guess when you do your new bumper, you could just get one with a swing out on it, or make your own swing out.
I think what the plan is going to be with that, because my wife didn't love, the reason we got rid of the other one that I made was she didn't love having to open it and close it. It was heavy. So onboard air is going to be a thing at some point. I carry a Milwaukee inflator right now, and it works.
Right.
It's a little slow on the 35s. So I plan on an onboard air compressor, and then I want to run a pneumatic cylinder to the rear bumper to open and close the tire portion of it. So it solves her problem, solves my problem, we can have a spare on it again. As of right now, I haven't been running a spare. I plan on buying some glue tread in case I ever blow a sidewall. Fingers crossed that I don't. I never have to this point, but
You never know.
it could happen. I don't like not having a spare, but as of right now, that's part of the appeal of a trailer is I don't carry a spare. You know, I have nowhere to put it. I have nowhere to put all my gear. You know, I'm starting to run out of space.
All right, guys, that concludes the walk around of the 2017 TRD Pro. Is there anything else you want to tell us about this thing? Really appreciate you coming out here, showing it to us. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think that about wraps it up. I mean, like I said, I've got a ton of heart and soul into this vehicle, and I plan on spending a lot more time with it and a lot more upgrades to come. So
sweet. Well, guys, check out my other videos. They'll be down below as well. You can check out the 3rd gen video that I did recently and all the other stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.